Why are we afraid of being intimate? Intimacy. Shark came here coming at you with another episode. So the question of the day is, why are we afraid of being intimate, being close to people, engaging with people, sometimes being in relationships with people, sometimes letting people get close to us? That's the question that was brought to my attention. So P.S. and by the way, if you really want to change your life, take your game to the next level, you have two options. You can either go to badboysecretsclub.com or you can check out my Patreon, I should say. Patreon. Patreon. You can get access to those two places by clicking the links below this video. So why are we afraid of getting close to people? Well, now, simple answer. A lot of people have been hurt. Yeah, a lot of people have been hurt. As a matter of fact, I'm going to say most people that you're going to meet in your entire life, men and women, they've been hurt by somebody. I don't care, your parents, your sister, your brother, your grandmother, your grandfather, your cousin, somebody. That's where the problem stems from. What usually happens is you'll meet somebody and you getting to know this person, and they'll kind of mask who they really are. They'll kind of put up kind of perpetrating a fraud, so you don't really meet the real person until later, weeks, months later, after they done let, the force field down, so to speak. And you might be talking about something, and you might not make nothing of it. You might be, you might be in the kitchen, or you might be at her house, or you might be at your crib. Y'all might just be talking about anything, and you might say something funny, kind of like a joke. Like, I give you an example. You might be in the kitchen saying something like, "Hey, it take you a long time to cook, don't it? It seems like." In her mind, she's thinking, "Oh, what are you trying to say? I can't cook? I don't know what I'm doing?" But you're just joking, right? She's taking it serious. And it don't have anything to do with you. It has something to do with what happened in the past. See, we have these things where people will say, they're really triggers. But some people say, "Hey, you're pushing my buttons. You're pushing my buttons." See, the button ain't got nothing to do with you. That's the thing. See, here's the problem with these so-called pushing the buttons. See, there's something that happened to her that she forgot to tell you about, or he forgot to tell you about. They didn't want to share it with you for whatever reason. Now, if you ask them, "Hey, what happened to you in the past? Something happened to you." Or maybe you already haven't, maybe she did tell you, but she didn't go into details. She or he. So you say, "Hey, tell me exactly what happened back then." And then they'll tell you what happened. And then it's like, okay, then you understand why he or she act the way they do. Right? Now, most people ain't going to tell you what happened. They ain't going to tell you what happened. Now, if you get to know them, if you stay around long enough, they'll tell you, but it's going to be months, probably years later, Then if you ask them, hey, how come you didn't tell me that the first year we met? You never asked. I'm like, well, how was I supposed to know to ask? I didn't know to ask. Then they'll justify why it's your fault. It's your fault that you didn't ask, even though you didn't know to ask. Yeah. So it's kind of like they're blaming you for not knowing to ask. Because let me tell you what happens with a lot of these people. If something horrible happens, look, the reality is, it's horrible things that happen to people living in this country. It doesn't matter if they came from someplace else. It doesn't matter if they were born here. People do horrible things to people all the time. You know, that's just the reality. You know, I mean, but even still then, it's kind of like, I don't blame them for the experiences that they had. And you know, another thing you have to realize, even if that person tried to relive what happened back in the day, because what usually happens is the experience is so tragic to them. Even if you ask questions of what happened, sometimes they can't even remember. They can't even remember what happened. Because what usually happens is what happened was so devastating to them, they kind of swept it under the rug and never dealt with it. They just kind of like moved on and kind of forgot about it. So when you ask them questions, they have to go back and kind of relive what happened. And a lot of times they don't want to deal with that. So it's just a tough situation. Anyway it goes. You know, a lot of people just kind of sweep it under the rug, don't want to deal with it. It's they probably haven't talked about it in 10, 20 years. You might have to go, there's something that probably happened in their childhood. And this person might be 35, 40, 50 years old. And a lot of times, that tragic experience alters their whole life experience. Who they are and everything. And they don't even realize it. They think the way they act, behave, the way they think, doesn't have anything to do with what happened to them. They think the way they act is just, they just made a decision to be this way. But a lot of times it stems back to what happened in their childhood, or what happened in that relationship, or what happened in college, or what happened at that job. And especially living in this country, if you're a non-white person, you're going to get mistreated. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. If you're working a 9-to-5 job, you're being taken advantage of. So you're being mistreated. And you're probably not even aware of it. And I've noticed this, if you talk to a lot of people, when I talk to a lot of people, I ask them where they work, how long they've been working there, what's their job, what's the day-to-day duties like. And just by listening to them, I can tell that they're being taken advantage of. They don't even realize it. And even the ones that realize they're being taken advantage of, kind of just accept it. And if you know you're being taken advantage of, and you accept that mistreatment, that starts to mess with your mind after a while. Because you know something ain't right. You don't necessarily know what it is, but you're going to go along with it anyway. So you're reducing yourself to the lowest of lows when you know something ain't right. So in essence, you being a coward. Man. So this is why a lot of people are afraid to get close to anybody. And this crosses all layers of like intimacy, getting close to people in relationships, getting to know people. Man, sometimes you might never meet the real person. Because they're not going to stay around you long enough. They'll just leave. Because some people, as soon as you start getting close to them, or maybe you're getting too close to them, they'll just cut you off. And you won't hear from them no more. They might block your phone number. Or they might move to a different spot and they won't let you know anything. Or they'll block your phone number or change their phone number. And I know people that do this to people all the time. You know, they say, oh, I got a new phone number. And then they'll call me and let me know the new phone number. But I know there's some other people that they talk to, they ain't get the new phone number. So people do this all the time. When they move, they'll get a new phone number, new address, and they won't tell the majority of people where they live at and the new number. Because they've been hurt, man. That's what it is. And they never dealt with it. That's the thing. You know, sad but true, man. You know, truth is, man, no, the reality is no one is going to solve any of your problems. I've learned this. I came to this conclusion like 20 years ago. Whatever issues, problems you have, no one is going to solve it for you. You're going to have to put in the work. I don't care what it is. I don't care if you're too fat, too skinny, you got financial problems, you have social problems. I don't care what it is. No one is going to help you solve your problem. Now they might help you and might lead you, point you in the right direction, but they're not going to do the work for you. Because no one is going to live your life for you. Your mom ain't going to do it. Your dad ain't going to do it. Your grandfather, your grandmother, your sister, your brother, your cousin. No one's going to live your life. You know, no one's going to do it. Even if you go to a shrink, they're not going to actually help you put in the work. They just sit down and listen to you talk. And their job, a shrink's job, psychologist, any type of therapy, their job is to help you face reality. That's it. That's it. They're not going to put in the work for you. They'll sit there and listen to you for an hour and a half, then bill you. You come back to the next session. That's it. But they're not going to put in the work for you. You have to solve that problem. They'll point you in the right direction. So I always say, going to therapy is kind of like, it's kind of a waste of time. I'm like, look, I know a lot of psychologists and a lot of therapists. I'm like, look, I faced reality 25 years ago. I came to that conclusion on my own when I was 20 years old. If it's meant to be, it's up to me. And most people don't care about you. That's just reality. In the USA, of course you're going to have a few people in your corner at the end of the day. You're going to have 2 to 5 people. That's it. Less than 10 people. And I'm not even talking about your sisters and brothers. And your mom and your dad and your grandparents. I ain't talking about them. I'm talking about outside of your family. You're going to have 2 to 5 people. That's it. When you get old, if you make it to old age, if you make it to 40, 50, 60s, 70s, those people are not going to be, the people you know today when you're young, they're not going to be around when you're old. They're going to be gone. They're going to be gone. Some going to be dead. Some going to be drugged out. Some going to be sick. You're going to move to a different place. They're going to move to a different place. That's just reality. So, man, that's just, you know, they say hurt people hurt people. But I've been living long enough to know that I can listen to certain people. I can tell they've been hurt. Something happened to them. Like the holidays coming up, right? I told a guy the other day, a guy and a girl, I said, yo, on Thanksgiving and Christmas and stuff like that, I usually hang out with my family. I don't really celebrate holidays. I just celebrate being around my family. And one guy, the guy, he was like, I don't give a shit about being with no family during the holidays. So, see, he's been hurt. Something happened to him. Somebody said or done something in his family for him to have that mindset. And I just triggered something in him when I mentioned family means a lot to me. But he doesn't see it that way. He doesn't see the value of family because of something happened. People have these buttons. If you push their buttons, you see what they're really made of in the moment. Sometimes some people will flip out. And you be like, yo, what's going on? You might be lost. You might be like, yo, they just flipped out. I don't know what's going on. And that's because y'all not on the same page. She done been through some stuff. Or he done been through some stuff that you don't know about. And they ain't going to tell you in most cases. And you're going to be walking around the house or wherever y'all may be on eggshells. And if now, and then here's the deal. If they're not willing to tell you the root of the problem when it comes to them, without trying to redirect the problem back to you, and this happens a lot. A lot of people will try to, if you ask them questions about them, they'll try to redirect the problem back to you. They're making it seem like you're the problem. No, you're not the problem. You just happen to trigger a response of where the problem stems from. And if they're not willing to share with you what's the real deal, you need to leave them the hell alone. You need to get away from these people. It's not your job to fix them. They need some advanced help. They need some advanced help from somebody else. And whatever help they need, 9 times out of 10 is over your head. It's much bigger than you. So you need to get away from these people. That's my opinion. Some people would disagree with that, and that's totally fine. But the problem, the people, if you disagree with that, with me saying you need to get away from them, what you gonna do? Try to change them? That ain't gonna work. You gonna try to work something out with them? You tried that already. 9 times out of 10, that ain't work either. If you stay around them long enough, you're gonna be just like them. Or very close to them. They're gonna bring out the worst in you. So are you willing to go down that road? You know, a wise man told me, if you hang around fools, you'll become the next one. So hey, It's my philosophy. That's how I get down. That's how I roll. That's how I live my life, man. You know, we all have to live our own life and make our own decisions, you know. So, hey, if you like this video, share it, subscribe, and tell me what you think. How do you handle situations like this? Leave your comments below. Check out my website, chooseyourrelationships.com. Until next time, I'm out. Peace!